So welcome back, Bracket Life Interviews. I'm here with 2022 650 champion, Joe Muro. Only got to know Joe really recently, to be honest with you. In the last few years we've met and got to know each other a bit more. Let's start things off by, and I think maybe this helps me as much as anything else, like how you got your start in racing, right? We haven't really talked about that. I know there's been different histories. Your dad was a racer, so maybe kind of walk us through there. Like, where did you start?
Yeah, so my dad raced 99 to 03. He had a 67 Camaro they bought from North Carolina, him, Joe Passero, and Snipe.
That's the Camaro Joe still has?
Yep, Joe Passero still owns the car, yep. And he raced in mainly Lancaster. They raced Lancaster Speedway, and he came second in the points there in 02. And then shortly after that, he got into like offshore power boats and stuff like that. So he got out of drag racing. So as I got older, we shared the common interest of motorsports and stuff like that. So we bought my Camaro as a roller, and we rebuilt it right in the garage, me, him, and my Uncle Ralph. And it rolled into what it is today, really. It's like back half Camaro street car when we got it, and then we raced Lancaster for a year, foot braking it, running 750s, and I struggled. It wasn't even fun to me. I'd go up in the lanes, and I'd just be so nervous just to screw something up in the burnout box or something like that.
It's that beginnerness that makes
it was
so
terrible,
hard.
terrible. I said to myself, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I even racing? Like, it was.
That probably gets said 1,000 times at a race, to be honest with you.
And that thought came to my head. So we got through that. Unfortunately, July of 19, my dad passed away. And we raced that whole season at Lancaster, and we struggled. We ran one race, we went 5 rounds, and that was like the highlight of our season, right? Like, it was a lot of luck,
Yeah.
So that winter, we got real serious about it. The car went to Tommy Thorne, and he redid the chassis and put a cage in it, 850 certified cage. And Carpenter and RCR Performance and Ferravani, Joe Ferravani Racing Engines, built us a motor. And Carlo Catipio,
yep.
He did a 2-speed for us. And we got more serious about it. We put a trans brake in the car, and we went out in 2020, and we seen some success. So things started going our way. We started logging a lot of data, and it rolled from there, honestly, Andrew. Like, we just started going a couple rounds, and we would go 2 or 3 rounds, and then we would lose a round, but then we would know why we lost, right? And it just started building up from there, and we went in full tilt, and we started getting some results.
Yeah. So it's a different background, because I mean, a lot of the people I talk to who are in racing, I mean, particularly in our age group, like they had some sort of exposure through their parents, but many kind of came up through junior ranks, or they often move into their parents' car, right? Like that kind of is a commonality, and that's very much not really the route that you went, right? So you've really come into this, like you're relatively new to it, as much as it's not really something that's new to your family.
Yeah, we've been racing like competitively since 2020. Like, our first year and a little bit there, like we were just showing up to just figure out what the heck we were doing. But 2020 and on, we really started taking it serious. And, it's something that me and my dad were doing before he passed away. So that really drove me to keep going and getting some success. Like, I was standing right here last year with a close friend of mine, Darren, and we missed a race in the 650 deal, and it sort of put us out of the points. Yeah. We could have won it, but it would have been close. And I said to him, next year we're going to be up on the stage there getting our championship trophy.
Called the shot.
Yep. And we worked hard all this year, and we did it. And I was very proud of that, and it was a nice accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Really nice accomplishment.
Very big. And I think that's something to touch on there, because the 650 racing wasn't where you started, right? Like index racing, I mean, that's come after the fact, as quick as this has all happened, right?
Yeah.
Bracket racing where you started, you've introduced index racing, you've become very good at it, right?
Yeah.
You haven't left bracket, but you're still out there,
Yeah, we go back and forth.
Absolutely.
We go back and forth. Like, I met Ian, I met Jay Gallant, I met a couple of friends, and then met Jeff Van Beek, and we all just sort of like went into Ian's deal, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Like, I love the aspect of leaving heads up, making the car run a number, right? Yep. Like, that's easier said than done.
Oh, 100%.
As you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, like, we did really good, and we were good at it. So, like, we stuck with it. And then if bracket races came up, like, we love bracket racing too. That's what I learned on.
Yep.
Sportsmanship. So you just go back. Like, each week I would go back, look at my notes, look at the data, and then go from there. Like, the biggest part of success, in my opinion, is a practice tree.
Yep.
I would be on the practice tree. I would go sportsman. I would go pro tree, and then just go back and forth, and then through the week.
And train yourself. I mean, that's one of the things I found.
Because it's hard to go back and forth, as you know.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a key thing, because I think that's where I've seen anyone I've talked to, like yourself, who's gotten, found success in that. It's training the brain to switch, right? You can train the brain to do something good. It's really hard to train it to stop doing that and do something else and be good at that still, right?
Well, I believe in I don't know if I'm 100% right, but in 2020, Ian ran the heads up index, and he ran the sportsman side of things. So in the same weekend, we're going back and forth. Even actually the 662, that's what rings a bell.
Yep.
So we would run 650, which 2021 was our first ever event win. That was a huge highlight of my career.
Yep.
I say ours because, like, I can't do it with a lot of the guys that help me. Yep. But going back and forth to sportsman pro in the same event is it's pretty tricky.
And that's one of the things maybe to talk about, because at the 650 race, so that, and then, again, I'm mining for info, so was that your first win?
That was our first ever event win.
Wow.
And that was
August
do it 2021.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. I was in Grand Bend. A lot of people were there that helped me through this deal, other than my wife and daughter, which they're my main supporters. Like, I put a lot of time in the garage, and Jody's very understanding, which is you need it, because if you have someone that won't let you do that or nags on you all the time, then it comes to a point where it's like it's not worth losing a family over going racing, right?
It can draw you out of it just as fast, right? It's got to be that team effort, and there's multiple teams that can be involved in that, right? So in 2021, you followed that up, I mean, in Turkey Nationals, so I believe that was the same year, right?
Same year for the Gamblers.
Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, you're rolling there, and that's, like the Turkey Nationals at St. Thomas is one of those events where realistically it's the last kick at the can, and everyone shows up because no one's ready to call it a year. So you get a lot of great racers, and it doesn't matter. I know they call the Friday Night Gamblers and the Saturday and Sunday different names. But regardless, it's the same people running Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they're all fantastic racers. Absolutely. You show up there, and Joe Muro's going rounds. and I got to admit, Friday night at St. Thomas is a special place for me. Night racing at St. Thomas, I always found to be a special place. It's cool. Dark. It's a hole in the sense of the blackness, right? But
everywhere.
But that place dark. Is a fun place to go around. That was your first bracket win. Followed up after the 650?
I spoke with you earlier. We ran the Gamblers race. We got there Thursday or Friday. We ran the Gamblers race. It was a huge field, and all the heavy hitters. But Drew Buckner's in there, Will Steckley, Craig McGow, they're all in there. And it's like, but the thing, we go there to go do laps on the car. We go there to have fun. I don't care who I race. And I learned something from Ian. He told me, you race your car, you put a package together that you feel comfortable with, that you can go rounds with. And if you can repeat that, you'll start having success. Yep. And that's what I went by, and it's been working out for us. But we went that Gamblers race, and on the mod side of things, we won. We won the mod side, and then they do it as they race together.
There was a runoff setup.
Runoff, yes. Yep. And then we ran, I forget his name, really nice guy with the dragster, Atkinson.
Oh, Rick Atkinson.
Rick Atkinson. Yeah. So we ran off.
And no slouch. I mean, he was on the stage tonight with you, right? As the champion for 2022.
He was. And he beat me, and I was okay with it because we're just happy to be there and happy to go rounds.
Big field, though, as you said. I sometimes hate the runoff thing to an extent because you run through mod, you're the champion. I mean, and I really I don't go to a track and cheer much, but it was hard not to cheer for you because it was so great to see you going rounds, right?
Yeah.
Every time you roll back,
I appreciate it.
I hate the fact that the runoff kind of feels like, because you won mod, you beat that field, right?
And it's
I'm
hard to
over in
go
your
against
pit
a
with a
top
beer
off.
because I'm not in this anymore. And there was a lot of folks in my shoes in your pit doing the same thing.
Yep.
That was a
Teddy
big win.
Barnes was there. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. So fast forward a little bit, right? Like you get to 2022 now. I mean, you've had the 650 season, right? Been very
Yep.
successful. Ontario bracket finals, right? I mean, that's another big race.
Big race for
And
us. Yeah.
that is the best of the best. These are
Yeah.
all the best racers from these tracks, right?
The last 2 years we've been running Ian's deal, so I don't enter. I'm not really a part of RCSS. Like I will support them if we can
Yep.
on off weekends, but last 2 years you put together the Outlaw team.
Yep.
So I always message you. I says if there's an Outlaw team, I want to be on it.
Absolutely.
Because I want to get there. And this year they put one together, and we were there, and we're running mod, so bottom bob, and I go up to the lanes. The last 4 or 6 cars, they're all guys in my. 80% of them were guys in my team, the Outlaw team.
Yep.
It was me, Ian. I forget off the top of my head now, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I raced Ian in the semis. I was lucky enough to get by him. Then we went to the finals.
It's always the
and it was
go-to
cool.
answer. I'm lucky enough to get by him, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Well, I look
it-
up to him, right? Like
Yeah,
he's a great
yeah.
racer, and
no, and he's
he helps me out a lot. He gives me a lot of pointers and stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's cool.
Yeah, so that's a big accomplishment, right? I mean, that's a 2020 year season that you look at a lot of people and go like, you put one win on the board, but you won a championship, you won one of the biggest mod field races in Ontario,
Yeah.
right? Like, how do you you take this? What are you looking at in 2023? Because there's certainly no reason you can't grow on what you've done there. But the time that you've done
Yeah.
it, you've had a lot of success. What do
The
you?
only cool part is that we won the turkeys this year too.
That's right. I
Which is
forgot
cool.
about that.
Well, no,
Yes,
I
yes, you
know.
went back, and that's
And
that's
I'm not
right.
bragging because it's
No.
honestly been a year that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we'll ever have the success we did this year, and for the years I hope we do.
Yeah.
But it was a cool year, and like you said about the turkeys in 2021, the best of the best are there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that event just draws that
yeah,
end of the year, right?
yeah.
So
Everyone wants to race, right? Because it's a long winter.
absolutely.
So-
No, that's huge. So then, knowing that, having missed that glaring oversight
That's
on my
okay.
end, like 2023, what do you kind of plan to do? My assumption is Canada heads up, but
Yeah, we're gonna run Canada heads up. We got the car torn apart right now. We got we bought a front clip for it, Smith Racecraft front end, and we're putting some money into the car, new bullet from Fairvani, and we're gonna try to run Street 275.
no kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
put small tires on the car. It's something I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna come this soon, but if the stars align, maybe we can try to run it.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, if we can't run 550 because it's a cutoff at 550, we'll run 6.0 index. We'll slow the car down and
Yep.
run 6.0,
Yeah.
and then hopefully be able to bracket the car at all the other events that we've enjoyed.
I was just gonna ask, like, the bracket side of things, still looking
Yeah.
to fill, use
Yeah.
that as a fill-in on the schedule.
Yeah,
Right.
like we'll have to go over. I'd really like to put the car on small tire, put the car on big tire
Yep.
to run bracket races and just dial it back a little bit. Like I said before, whatever it runs off the trailer, right?
Yep.
It depends what we got to do with the 4 length and stuff like that. How hard it is to convert it.
Yep.
If we have to do stuff, so.
Yep.
And if not, we can maybe do it on the 28-10-5. We can maybe go rounds on that.
See if you
so.
make it work, type of thing, right? That's
Yeah, we can probably make it work. We ran no prep, and the car went down there no problem on back of the track at
Yep.
Cayuga,
I think I
so-
saw those videos too.
Yeah, it was
right?
fun.
Yeah.
We weren't competitive, but we had fun doing it. It's something I always wanted to do. So I'm up for new stuff and having fun doing what we're doing.
Yep, absolutely. That's all right. Any plans to travel a little bit at all, U.S. stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
Lancaster's in your backyard, but
We want to run Lancaster this year. It's been 3 years since we've been there, so I still got my pit spot over there in the hot pit. So I want to run Lancaster and Empire. Empire Outlaws, they got some small
they have
tire
a 550
stuff.
too, don't they?
Yeah, so they got some small tire stuff if we can get there and
Yep.
have some fun. It was just going back a little bit. It was a struggle this year for us. To run 650 index
Yep.
was a struggle. The car wants to run 630s.
Yeah.
And we were okay in August when it was hot, but as soon as the temperatures dropped and we were in the
Now you're trying to find.
hunt for the championship. We're trying to slow the car down, and I can't thank Jeff Van Beek enough for helping me out with that because
That's-
I can honestly say we wouldn't have won the championship if he didn't have as much heart into it as I did.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. You got to have those friends to help you with that type of stuff.
yeah.
I mean, it's when you venture into that world and they're helping you out with ideas and concepts, and hell, even just work
It's
on
hard.
stuff, right?
It's a hard
You
goal.
need that. That's back to that team concept, right? It's an individual sport that it ain't successful without that team, right?
Yeah, no,
So-
everybody, like all my guys, like I got Darren Thibodeau, like for a while there, I'm building a shop at my house, and I'm in his garage with my car, working on it weekly to go racing.
Yep.
And he's like, use my garage, whatever, and
Yep.
it was awesome. And like he comes out, like we have race car nights on Wednesdays, he come out and cooks for us, and it's a great environment that I surrounded myself with, and I can't thank my friends and family enough for everything.
Yeah, no, that's important. Let's shift gears. Going to round robin, so we're gonna do some hot lapping questions.
Boy.
Oh yeah. No one gets away from this one. No one.
Okay.
I've even added a question for you here.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah. All right. Favorite winter circle beverage?
Vodka soda.
That's not bad.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that. That's a good
Good.
one. Most underrated late night track dinner?
Salen's hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Salen's.
Salen's.
They're only from the States.
Ah, okay. That's
Oh,
where I
they're the
missed
best,
it.
buddy.
All right. That's just two answers with hot dogs. I'm shocked
Oh,
by
they're
this.
good.
That's all.
They're good.
All right. Favorite Canadian drag racer? Past, present.
Joe Passero.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Joe is. I won't
He's
say the man.
one of my mentors.
Yeah.
Him or Keith McKellar, Leaky.
Yep.
You know, he helps me out a lot with
Those
with,
are
with the car and everything.
those are good
too.
mentors. Like those
Yeah.
guys are salt of the earth dudes. Name a class in drag racing you don't currently race in that you want to try.
Pro modified. It's
Fair enough.
unbelievable what those guys are doing.
It's actually it's unreal. That outlaw race that Spencer
Man,
won.
it
Like,
was killer, man.
oh.
Like I was watching that, I was like, wow.
Number one place to stop for food while traveling to the race.
Jim Stakeout.
Where's that?
Oh, it's only in the States. All the good stuff is in the States.
That's valid.
all the good
That's
stuff
the
is
gems
in
are
the
there.
States. Yeah.
I haven't heard Outback yet, which was a little bit
Outback?
surprising.
Yeah.
Right.
Outback's good too.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be hit and miss on Outback. Would you rather win an NHR World Championship or the OG $1 million bracket race?
Oh, the $1 million. Like
Yeah.
the million's killer. Like what those guys are doing and how tight they're running. That's cool to even watch, really.
You know what? It's unreal.
It really is.
It is. Longest distance you've ever dragged the battery charger?
I have not done that yet.
Come on.
We run an alternator. So
You
we're not
still charge
charging.
this thing still?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna call BS on that a little bit, but I have no reason to say otherwise.
Maybe this year, but we run an
Yes.
alternator.
All right, well, we'll circle back around if you're back here next year, which I fully expect you to be honest with you. Favorite racing movie? Name a quote from it so I know you've watched it.
Days of Thunder. We're gonna shape you like a bullet.
I like that scene. All right. I was gonna go with the normal like greatest driver in the class one, but I'm gonna throw this one at you. Radio racing or no prep? Which one's better?
Oh, radio racing. I really like watching lights out. I really want to go to a lights out event and run. They got a 6.0 index there. I'd really like to run the car in 6.0 index, slow it down, and have some fun with that.
Fair enough. I'm with you on that one. All right. So last question. Any sponsor in the world, okay? Terms of the deal are you have an unlimited supply of whatever they sell.
Yeah.
What are you going with? You can't answer Noonan.
No, I won't.
We're done with Noonan.
My engine builder, RCR Performance, Rob Carpenter, and Joe Ferravani. Those guys have been behind me this whole time, and they build a killer motor, man.
So if you get unlimited motors from them, you could go pro mod racing because you might need
Joe's been
unlimited.
pro mod racing, so with Carl Spearing, so
there you
he
go.
knows a little bit what's going on.
All right, that's a smart move, and I see where you're going with
Yep.
that. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Andrew.
Great interview. Joe Muro, 2022 Canada Heads Up 650 champion.